Yo, what's good, everybody? In today's video, I want to talk to you about a topic that most people don't understand or they don't know how it works and stuff like that. So I wanted to shine a light on it so I can educate more people. I know that there are some exceptions in the tech community and the tech world and gaming world and all that jazz, but most things people don't know how they work. Same way that people think that off in your cell phone or in your computer means that it's not running, when it usually that's not always the case with technology, especially with modern electronics and modern devices, especially when most operating systems are built to have certain things running whether you allow them or not. Like especially when people think that the sleep mode on your computer it's off, like your computer is off. Well, technically it is to a point, but it's also not. Also, how people think that hibernate is the same as before back in Windows XP and Windows 7 and Vista, and it's not remotely the same anymore. Also, the fake C states of, again, the operating system, people thinking that it works the same way as they used to, where it just keeps your CPU from clocking up or down, and it just keeps your CPU at a constant like peg, mostly almost at its rated turbo speeds. So in today's video, I wanted to shine a light on it, educate people, especially the people that don't know how things work now and new operating system and new devices and electronics and stuff like that. So I wanted to shine a light on it, like I said. And like I said, most people think that off means that it's not running when it's not the case. Unless you actually turn off the feature and then you restart your phone, it means that it's, your phone or your operating system or whatever it is that you're trying to keep off, it's running. It's still running unless you actually restart your device. Another thing is people don't understand that when you turn something off and it's not off like you plan to and like you actually told the operating system to, turn it off, this is what kills performance, what kills battery life, and what kills system responsiveness. So that's why most people, when they get most elitists, that's why I call them, or most people that are very into the tech community and they call themselves like tech savvy or whatever, they usually try to minimize the things that are running in the background in their devices, their operating system and stuff like that, unless they specifically tell the device or, like I said, operating system to keep on, then they just default to keeping them off. Especially with things when you turn your computer on and you have a whole bunch of things that fight for your resources when you turn your computer on, like having Discord, having your computer graphics driver, having your, I don't know, whatever it is that you're using to monitor your audio or OBS or stuff like that. So those are programs that whenever you install them, or either your devices or your computers or stuff, they are built to start up when you turn your computer on. And that's usually not a good thing for performance or for system responsiveness. And especially if you're trying to keep your computer feeling as fresh and as new as possible. That's why I usually recommend people downloading a program called Revo Uninstaller, which is a program to uninstall programs on your computer. But what this does differently than Windows regular uninstaller is that when you uninstall things through Windows, it usually keeps a whole bunch of registry and things. So when you install the program again, you don't have to reinstall all your, reconfigure everything. So it keeps a whole bunch of things running in the background, and that usually clogs up your operating system, making it feel slow and sluggish and stuff like that. So that's why I recommend people installing Revo Uninstaller as soon as you reinstall Windows or as soon as you get a brand new computer. That way, when you uninstall things, they don't leave registry or any type of things running in your computer still, even though it's uninstalled. Another thing is that people don't know is that, like I said, just because you told your computer or your device or whatever to stop said thing doesn't mean that it's actually stopped. That's why I recommend people, whenever you make changes in your computer or whenever you make changes to your device, your iPhones or your Androids or whatever, make sure to run through all your settings that you're trying to do, turn off whatever it is that you're trying to turn off, and then restart your thing. That way you know whether it's running or whether your system actually is stopped it completely. Another thing is that the background refresh, or I don't know what it's called on Android, but background running apps usually kill your performance as well as your battery life, especially on laptops, cell phones, on your computer. It kills your performance because it's running a whole bunch of things that you may not know what it's running. So usually when I get a new iPhone or a brand new computer or whatever, I usually keep my running things in the background to a minimum. I usually just run like if I'm recording anything or if I'm live streaming or whatever, usually just OBS, my web browser, which I use Brave for, and I usually keep the memory saver thing on, and Discord. And if I'm playing a game, the game is also running, whatever. But aside from that, I don't run anything else on the background because, like I said, it conflicts with the operating system and it kills your performance, basically. Another thing is that it's always running in the background that people may not know that you don't always need to have running in the background. It's location services, because what they do is they ping your location, and they usually, if you're out and about or if you're at home, if you're not using the Wi-Fi, it usually kills your battery because it's using either 5G, 4G, or Wi-Fi, or all of the above. Another thing that I tell people to take off on their devices is Wi-Fi assist, because what it does is that when you don't have enough bandwidth on or enough speed for whatever it is that you want your device to use or to do, it usually uses both things, which is Wi-Fi and your cellular connection, and you're wasting battery because it's using both things to give you what you want and what you're asking for, but it usually comes at a cost of battery life. Mostly also social media apps are also running in the background, like constantly, pinging your location, pinging your Bluetooth devices, pinging a whole bunch of things in your system, and also like refreshing in the background. So that also kills your performance, your battery life, and stuff like that. So what I usually tell people is, unless you absolutely need to, because you either make content or you make money off of it, or you have things that you need to have people reach out to you or whatever, then just keep them off. Emails, social media apps like TikTok, Instagram, Facebook and stuff like that. All of that, just keep them off, because what it's gonna do is it's gonna allow your device to breathe and have more resources available at their disposal to use for whatever other things you need, especially if those things are intensive. Another thing is also cloud backups. Usually I tend to tell people to just keep them set at a specific date. That way, if you're, let's say, I don't know, let's say Sundays, if you tend to wake up late, let's say like around 10 or 11 on a Sunday, then just keep your device on a cloud backup set to a Sunday, because you don't need it as fast, or you're not gonna use it as much on a Sunday as you typically use your phone. So that way it's doing the backup, the cloud backup in the background when you don't need to use your phone. And especially if your phone is older and you haven't changed your battery in a long time, or it's a budget phone which is not as powerful as a regular flagship, usually it will feel even worse than having all of this just turned off. Another thing is specifically for, like I said, for OSs, like regular desktop OSs, is, like I said, keep startups to a minimum. Just keep whatever it is that you need on a daily basis. Everything else you can just open as you need. And also be mindful of having your computer, sleep states, hibernation and stuff like that, because usually if there's an error or whatever on your memory, even if you wake up your computer, then it might feel slow, or it might feel unresponsive and stuff like that. And that's because there's an error on the memory. And remember that memory keeps everything that you might use on your computer. Like everything, it might cache it to like use it instantly. That way it feels like really responsive. But if there's an error or whatever it is that it cached, then it might feel counterproductive and counterintuitive to have something in sleep mode. That's why I recommend people, again, restart your system, even though you had it and you had all your programs open or whatever. But yeah, just restart it. Again, also for Mac users, remember that there's an option when you're gonna restart or turn off your computer. There's an option to have everything come back up when you the same, you know, your next session. So what it does, that is gonna cache all of those programs and everything that you had open that you want to be open on your next session is gonna cache it to the RAM. So that also is gonna take a lot more time to open up when you turn it back on. So it might feel sluggish. What I usually tend to tell people to do is just take off that setting and just use normally your computer how you would. Even if you have to spend a little more time opening everything that you had open or whatever, but it'll be better for your computer, especially for your SSDs. And why do tech feel this way? Usually because people tend to demand more from their devices, especially computers or your pocket computers, how I call them, which is phones and tablets and stuff like that. And it's because people demand more. So if you want more things to be available to you at X point or X whatever, if you need your things to be loaded up quickly or whatever, then it's not gonna be filtered through. That's why a lot of iPhone users have issues with their devices, and they usually tend to go a lot more to an Apple Care, and what they do is they either restart their phones or what they do is they back it up and then reset it and put back the last thing on it. That way it clears whatever it might be messing up your OS, your operating system. It might be whether it's a bug, whether it's an issue on RAM, whether it's something that is messing up your CPU or your RAM or your internal storage. So usually doing this, which is why I tend to recommend people once a week restart your device, like hard restart it, like you press your power button and then shut it off for at least 5 minutes and then turn it back on. And usually it's gonna feel a lot more newer and a lot better than how it usually feels. Why? Because like I said, it's gonna dump all those things that are cached into your phone that are maybe not good or might give you an error or might give you an issue with your operating system, and it might flush it out and it might start from scratch. So that's gonna be this week's video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you got another tip that you would like somebody else that is not as versed and is not as savvy as some of us, let me know in the comments down below. If you like these types of video, let me know by giving me a like, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.